Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 21st of October, year of our Lord 2024. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motown Noah. I don't think I've ever mentioned this before. So the person who hosts this program is a fan of a team that is currently in the driver's seat of the NFC North, American football's toughest division right now. We sort of floated that out there as like a probably last week. I'm not really willing to hear any opposing arguments. Coming into the weekend, the NFC North was a combined 17-5 this season. Through what were we in? Was this week 7, week 8, whatever week this is? This deep into the season, that's the best combined record of any division in the National Football League ever, period, point blank. It's the best division that we've ever seen so far, right? And so what do we have going into Sunday? The two juggernauts, the two supposed juggernauts of the NFC North, the Detroit Lions, going into Minnesota to take on the undefeated Vikings, coming off of a bye week, I believe, right? And that was the concern is, okay, so Detroit comes off of a bye week and they absolutely embarrass Dallas. I forgot to mention this last week. They went into Jerry World on Jerry Jones's birthday and absolutely fucking embarrassed the Cowboys. They embarrassed them to such a degree that former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie came out of the woodwork, a Jerry Jones shill, which is, makes sense, I guess, that he did it. It was basically like Dan Campbell is a bitch and has no class and is a thug because we were running trick plays up by 40 on the Dallas Cowboys. Fucking choke on it, pussy. Sorry, Grandma, that didn't need to say that. But I mean it, right? Like, because fuck that guy, Chris Christie. Anyways, so the Lions and the Vikings, holy smokes, man. Holy smokes, did this game live up to the hype. Now, I gotta be honest, right off the jump here. I was 20 minutes into this game, one Vikings big play away from fucking turning it off and just enjoying my Sunday with my family, going out on a walk, like doing literally anything else because I was like, okay, all right, the Lions, since they got good, are good for like one smack across the face every single year. Like last year, it was the Baltimore game. We lost by like 100 and we turned that game off pretty early, right? It didn't feel like there was as much consequence to that, though, because it's like fuck being a divisional game. It was an AFC team, an AFC juggernaut, by the way. There's an argument to, what did they ended up going to the AFC Championship, I believe. That's when they lost to Kansas City, or was that in the divisional? Pretty sure it was the championship game in Baltimore. And then subsequently we lost to San Francisco, but nobody really ever mentions that. We don't really talk about that on this program, that the Detroit Lions blew a 3-score lead at halftime to the 49. It literally doesn't even matter anymore, right? So we got smacked in that game, but it didn't matter because it didn't fuck with the seeding. Like, whatever, okay, you lose that game. But I was like, it would hurt a lot this year if that game comes against Minnesota. That's not going to feel very good. Dan Campbell running a fake punt. I guess technically it was Ben Johnson, but for all intents and purposes, right? We know who's calling that shot. Did it feel to anybody else that was the most obvious fake punt? That we were like, it was just festering. You were like, they're about to fucking fake this shit, aren't they? Like, this is the quintessential Dan Campbell fake punt. And when that didn't work, I liked what they did, by the way. It was really creative. You send the guy in motion and you run like an option out of a fake punt. And I believe the pitch guy would have received it was the kid from Utah that we just drafted, who played both sides of the ball in college. So that would have been really exciting. He already converted a fake punt earlier this year. It would have been really cool, but I was just like, oh my God. Okay, so this is how this game is going to go. And then, nope. No, the Detroit Lions, even though they smoked, 2 different 11-point leads, looked like maybe it was going to slip away. I just want to highlight up top here how unbelievably balanced this game was. I talked a little bit last week about if I had to bet on anybody, any team in the NFL this year where the wheels are going to fall off at some point, no way, this is actually real. I was like, it has to be the Vikings. I was like, they're not going undefeated and that's fine. Nobody is expected, even Vikings fans. If you go into this thinking oh, wow, they're going to come out 17-0, you're just kind of setting yourself up to fail. And they weren't saying that, to be fair. I'm just kind of creating a straw man there for no reason. But I was like, Sam Darnold, are we sure? Sure, Brian Flores as the DC, he's legit, and that defense looks really, really good. Their run defense has been, lights out all season. And I was like, I don't know, no way, right? This isn't real. No, it is. It 100% is. Total yards in this game, Lions 391, Vikings 383. Wow, that's even. Passing yards, Lions 247, Vikings 244. What? Rushing yards, Lions 144, Vikings 139. What is going on? It used to be, no, don't do the Tucker Carlson thing. Just keep going. Yards per play, average yards per play. Lions 7 flat, Vikings 7.4. First downs, Lions 19 to the Vikings 17. Third down efficiency, they both went 4 for 10. Total plays run, Lions 56, Vikings 52. Sacks allowed, both of them 4. Penalties, each of us had 8. Time of possession, the Vikings had, what is that, a minute more of possession? Like, this was a true anybody could have won this game. And what I said to my girlfriend is, after that first interception from Brian Branch, which, by the way, goddamn, did Sam Darnold sell on that one, because he had Aaron Jones out in the flat. Aaron Jones is out there waving his damn hands around like a Looney Tunes character. Would have been good for like 15 yards. Like, just take the check down, brother. I swear to God, they made eye contact too. And Sam Darnold was like, no, I need something bigger. I need to go downfield. And he pushed the ball to a spot that just didn't exist. And Brian Branch picks it off. And I said, I think that's kind of what this game is going to be, is whoever gets the last big turnover, like this, which sounds dumb to say, but like, this is a major turnover game. Like, if you don't protect the ball, you're fucked. And then what did it feel like? Right after David Montgomery, of all people, gets the ball punched out and it gets housed by the Vikings. I'm doing a surrender cobra in that moment. I'm like, there's no way, right? There's no way that this is how it happens. No, that it didn't. That is not how it happened. We didn't lose the game. The Lions did not lose that game. And it's crazy to live in a timeline where we are consistently on the opposite ends of this horse shittery. Right? The Lions from 5 years ago, the Lions for my entire life up until the last 3 would have lost the game because of that, or something else down the line would have happened. Like, Matthew Stafford to this day is my king, but if he was the quarterback for those last like 2 drives, he would have thrown a back-breaking interception in a moment where it's, all right, well, you throw your hands up, you throw the clipboard, you're like, I guess that's the game, right? But that didn't happen with the Lions today. Shout out to Jake Bates. I mean, the offense took a while to get going. The defense took a while to kind of lock in. But in the second half, what the Lions had to roll the first and into the second half, 4 straight drives that resulted in a touchdown. 2 of them were 5 plays for like 80 yards, and then the other ones were like 7 and 9 plays. Like, they're quick strikes, man. They get shit done. I was shocked. And I gotta say, the Sam Darnold thing is fascinating. It is so interesting to watch, because I likened it a little bit to the Jared Goff thing, where you kind of have this late career resurgence, but it doesn't really feel like it's fair to equate it to Jared Goff, because Jared Goff had been to a Super Bowl before, right? Like, he had won games and played in some very meaningful games before he came to Detroit. And then he comes to Detroit and he has this like elevated renaissance where the dude doesn't throw incompletions. He's thrown what in the last 4 weeks, like maybe 10 incompletions. Like, seriously, he's been lights out. And so on the opposite side, Sam Darnold was great today. He threw some balls. There was the one that ended up being an incompletion and also got called back because of a hold that he had to Justin Jefferson on the sideline. The placement was wild. Justin Jefferson didn't get both feet down, but it was still an amazing catch. He had one to Naylor in the second half. I think it was Kirby Joseph, like, tried to get, and the ball placement was just exactly where it needed to be. 20 some odd yards down the field. Whoa, what a throw by Sam Darnold. What is this? And I think it was late in the fourth quarter that he had a bomb to Jordan Addison. Same thing. He puts it in a shoebox. And you're like, who the fuck is doing this? It's Sam Darnold? What is going on? It used to be that you turn on the TV and Sam Darnold was bad. But under the Biden administration, now Sam Darnold is good. What is going on? I'm more so liking it to like a Geno Smith. Is that kind of what we're getting here? Where, like, sure, like, Jared is now getting a sense of love from a city that, first of all, actually cares about football, but is winning and playing in meaningful games. But again, he had the success before. Where Geno Smith was like, it just took him like 10 years to be good at football, like really, really good at football. Not really, really good, but we like Geno Smith on this show, right? And Sam Darnold, for the longest time, like, okay, so he's in New York. And what's funny is the first pass that he ever threw in the NFL was a pick 6 to, I think, Quandre Diggs. It's either a Sunday night or a Monday night game in Ford Field, Matt Patricia's first game as the Lions head coach. That was his first pass, was a pick 6. And then the rest of the game, I think that I swear to God, the Jets won like 44-7. Like, it was bad. It was so bad that after one game, people were like, we need to fire Matt Patricia. Like, this shit isn't going to work. Could you imagine? Man, we were this close. We were this close to getting that one right. And then it took what? It doesn't matter. I don't need to relive this. He sucked. He wasn't good. And then he didn't go straight to San Francisco. Was it Jets, then Carolina? Who cared? Literally, who cared? Nobody did. And then he ends up going to San Francisco. He's a backup. That's, just kind of is what it is. He's still in the league. Like, that's cool. Good for him. And then he goes to Minnesota, and because J.J. McCarthy ended up getting spaghetti legs, now Sam Darnold has, like, a legit shot with, like, a legit, not like that great of a run game, but Aaron Jones is good. Aaron Jones is one of those guys that, like, hey, man, even Vikings fans know this. Like, we were terrorized by him in Green Bay. Oh, my God. You know what it kind of is? It's not the same thing because David Montgomery is just objectively better. Despite that fumble, which was just a great punch by, I think, Metellus. Another guy that the reason I hate him is because he's not on my team, but if he was on my team, I would fucking love that guy. I think it was Metellus that punched that ball out. Like, the way that I hated David Montgomery when he was in Chicago was just because he ruled, and it's like, man, that's a hard runner that you just wish was on your team. It's the same thing with Aaron Jones. And then so now Vikings fans have their own adjacent to David Montgomery and Aaron Jones coming over from Green Bay. Obviously, you have Jefferson, Jordan Addison's good. Love Jalen Naylor, Spartan Dog. What ended up happening with KJ Osborne? I don't remember where he went. I know he's not there anymore, but I loved him. TJ Hawkinson's got to be coming back soon, I imagine. He's got to be coming back. Yeah, he's got to be back soon. I'm still a little bit like, I'm not like mad at him. And he didn't do anything wrong. We just traded him to Minnesota because we didn't want to pay him. But it's just like, it sucks that we traded him to a divisional rival. I'm just in shock, man. Brian Branch is like, exit Aiden Hutchinson as the defensive player of the year, enter Brian Branch. I'm being for real. Like, not that for real, but seriously, maybe if he keeps up this pace, we're going to need to talk about it because the dude is turning into a takeover machine, or a turnover. Well, takeaway, turnover. I kind of conflated the two words. Machine. He's generating pass breakups. He's coming like from 15 yards down the field and stuffing a run at the line. You're like, huh? You're like, what? He's been awesome. Got an email today that was like, Nick, who's your favorite Lion? Brother, I have no clue. Could not tell you. Because it changes every 10 minutes, especially when you're watching the games. Like, it's Jared, and then it's Jameer, and then it's David Montgomery, and then it's fucking Penei Sewell, and then it's Taylor Decker, and then it's Sam Laporta, and then it's JMO, and then it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then on the opposite end of things, it's like sometimes it's Kirby Joseph. Sometimes it's Brian Branch. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's Alex Anzalone. Sometimes it's Hutch. Like, we just have so many dogs. Sometimes it's Jack Fox, if we're being for real about this. Sometimes it's Jack Fox. Today, it might have been Jake Bates. What I said to the guy over email was, I was like, I think I would just have to, gun to my head, I have to pick someone. I think it would be Amon-Ra, because you get into these crunch time moments where the Lions just need a first down. They need 7 yards. Put Amon-Ra in the slot. As a route runner and as a possession guy, as a possession catcher, I'm taking him over everybody right now in the NFL because he does not drop the football. If you put it within like a 3-foot radius of him, he will catch the football, he will hang on to it, and he will go down to the ground when you need it the most. Absolutely massive win by the Lions today. The Vikings, I hate to say it, it is real. And I'm not just saying that because I get that it may sound like pandering if I'm like, oh man, you guys, it was really cool. Although I will say the only like shitty thing I have to say about the Vikings is that little like double reverse trying to get Justin Jefferson to throw a pass back to Sam Darnold, and that shit blew up in their face and it didn't fucking work. Who do you guys think you are? Does Kevin O'Connell think that he's Ben Johnson? Because he's fucking not. Like, sit down, relax, and keep taking notes, brother. Maybe you'll be there in a few years. Catch up. Lions in control of the NFC North. Going to be an absolute bloodbath. I mean, it's crazy, dog, because you even look at it right now. Bears were on a bye, I think, this week. Like, if you look at the point differentials, Lions plus 62, Vikings plus 61, Packers plus 43, Bears plus 47. What the hell? What? Like, and here's what sucks about it. That's like plus 200 from the division. What is going on? It used to be. Stop. But what sucks if you're Minnesota is you have such a quick turnaround on this week that winning this game wasn't just crucial because it would really put you in control of the North because you'd be at 2 wins already, 2 division wins. But it's tough that you get your first loss and then you have a short week and you have to play on Thursday. And so in a span of 4 days, you could go from first to worst because that's just how good the division is. I mean, I guess technically they wouldn't go to worst. Although with the win percent, I don't know. But you know what I mean, though. That's tough. My least favorite thing about watching a Minnesota home game, the Skol chant. Now, hold on and stay with me. It's not because it's bad. Skol! Clap. Or rather, it doesn't matter. I hate it because it fucking rules. And I'm bummed that there's not a tradition that the Lions have that is as cool as that one. Because it is definitely, would be really cool to see that one in person, to witness that live. Even though I wouldn't want it to be against my team, because then I would feel, and that's a loud atmosphere. 70,000 people. The stadium holds it. Greg Olson called it, or maybe it was Adam Amin, called it a $1 billion palace today. You get wide shots of that stadium, and it's gorgeous. Seats 60,000. They got 10,000 in standing room only. It was awesome. Electric game. Certainly lived up to the hype. What do you say we do an NFL email? Hey, it's the Coping Hour, right? This is what, hey, and it's a Sunday episode. This is during the NFL season. This is when you guys get to really shine and get your shit off. We do have a first here from Wiz. Wiz, welcome back to the show. A recurring emailer here at the Coping Hour. Subject line, copingoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email will be available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. Subject line, live Daniel Jones reaction. Hey, Nick, I'm writing in during halftime of the Giants game. I can't remember anyone emailing in during a game, which is what the first is here, folks. It was going so poorly so fast. They're like, I just need to fire off this email. So, Wiz, thank you for this. Back to the email. So I figured I'd share a Giants fan's pain real quick. If some massive event happens that shifts the Giants... No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen, so let's just get to your email. Saquon is popping 50-yard runs on the edge and scoring touchdowns. Meanwhile, Daniel Jones has thrown behind the sticks for about half of his passes, and we started off the game with 6 straight punts. If Matt Patricia is football Satan, then Daniel Jones... You said DJ. Do people call him DJ? Then DJ is his archdevil lieutenant. He is feasting on our hearts and laughing as he chucks a check down on 2nd and 16. Literally, the only hope in my heart is that our backup quarterback runs out the first possession of the second half. To make it all worse, the commentators constantly remark about, quote, how tough he is, unquote, and, quote, how hard he tries, unquote, as if taunting the fans, who have wanted him gone for 2 years. There can't ever be a worse quarterback to be given 6 years to ruin lives. I don't have a grander point to this, but thank you for creating it. Yeah, thank you for this, Wiz. Yeah, man, the amount of people who, and it's easy to do this in retrospect, right? But the amount of people were like, no, you have to pay Daniel Jones. Why? It was a numbers thing, right? And that like the Giants had a season or two where they like won games. It's like, yeah, but the quarterback isn't good though. What if the quarterback's not good? Then do I still have to pay him a shit ton of money? Oh, I do have to do that? Oh, okay. I have nothing to add to this. I just wanted to say shout out to... Yeah, Saquon had like fucking 170 rushing yards today or something. It was going on during the Lions game, so honestly, all I did... Let's go to... we now cut to Kurt Menefee for a game break, and they showed Saquon, to your point, like taking the edge and just like housing something for like 60 yards. I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. Like Saquon going home, and yeah, like that's cool. Shout out to that. Shout out to Daniel Jones. Folks, another thing that I want to... Oh, no, wait. Nope, sorry. We're not done with NFL emails. We have one more here. So it comes into us from Tom. Yes, the Tom. Tom, welcome back to the show. Subject line, my team is good, but I'm scared. What's your prognosis, doctor? Hey, Nick. It's week 7. I'm sitting on the toilet in the condo. Midterms are coming up. I've been getting a lot of comments at basketball about my favorite team, the Washington Commanders. I'm at this weird spot where I love what I've seen, but I'm hurt by my past. To a degree, I feel like we were at the point where the Lions were when they started to turn things around a few years back. I'm also a person who was alive for RG3 and Kirk Cousins. I'm aware what an above average to high level quarterback can take us, to where that can take us. And I think it puts the Commanders in a position to be an X Factor playoff team. The problem is, I've seen it crumble before, quite quickly. We had a bandage for the bleeding that the loss of a career like what RG3 precipitated, but I don't believe that we have one here if that happens to Jaden. I do believe that he has been capital U has been the unequivocal answer when it comes to the Offensive Rookie of the Year discussion. I just don't know how far this rocket can go, and I'm scared if it's going to be the same old story. The roster is underrated, our coaching staff is fresh, and it's been a good year so far. We have the weapons, the division is in flux, And we need to hold momentum to make any real statements this year. I was wondering what your thoughts were on my hometown team. Yeah, Tom, I'm not even worried about it at all. Like, even a little bit. The divisional stuff, yeah, maybe keep an eye on it, like, late in the season. But right now, aren't the Commanders, like, sneaky in the driver's seat? Even if the standings don't reflect that, it's like you look around the league. Okay, so the Eagles got to win today. Like, that's cool. Cowboys, I think, were on a bye, maybe. Is that true? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. They fucking stink. The Cowboys stink this year. So, literally, who cares? It is kind of weird. Jaden Daniels coming into this week had won all but one of the Rookie of the Week awards, like 100% that he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. You talk about the coaching staff thing. So when it was RG3 and Kirk Cousins, would that had to have been the timeline where it was like the infamous or famous, however you look at it, picture of the Redskins at the time. It's not a Freudian slip. They were the Redskins at the time. Coaching staff where it was like Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel, and then like fucking Jay Gruden. There's one more coach in there too, right? And like it kind of worked, but like it didn't. It's just crazy to look back on that. And now the Dan Quinn thing is working for sure, which shocks me because I just think he's dumb. I just think he looks dumb. He's not a bad coach. I just think he looks dumb, and I don't like looking at him. He kind of looks like one of the thumbs from Spy Kids. But your OC is who? Cliff Kingsbury? I'm not worried about it. Because what is the recipe for success in the NFL in 2024? A dynamic quarterback who gets the ball out fast. I'd like to know, actually, I'd be interested to know if there's I don't know if you can check this on like NFL Stat Muse or if anybody, knows where we can look at this information. From when the ball is snapped to when Jaden Daniels releases the ball. What is the time usually? Because it does maybe feel like he kind of spends a little bit of time back. And then I remember a problem early in the season with him was that he didn't know how to slide. And it's not that he wouldn't really try. It was just he would do like really dumb slides that could like get him killed. Has he figured that one out yet? He did end up getting hurt today. Of course, the one fucking week that we started him in fantasy. Because it's like him or Lamar. And I was like, well, Lamar's playing Tampa. I don't know. I trust the Tampa Bay. I'm like, Carolina's food. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And then he gets hurt. He's got a rib injury. Goes into the locker room. Comes out in street clothes. Fucking okay. I guess. I'm not worried about it, though. I'm assuming they ended up winning. They're up like 20-0 the last that I saw it. The Commanders winning the division. Could you imagine that? Pretty annoying team to match up against, I would say. And love Terry McLaurin. Austin Eckler. Sneaky one of the more like, whoa, he's not on this team anymore. Oh, yeah, he's with this team now? Austin Eckler. Like, that guy's just a Charger in my head. But, like, what happens when he's not a Charger anymore? You know what I mean? College football this week. Whoa. College football was sneaky off the charts. So we started with the Alabama-Tennessee game, which was fun. It's cool. I just hate watching Alabama lose. I know. But if it's going to be in Knoxville, right? Okay, fine. Cool, because it's like an awesome atmosphere for it to happen. ESPN's like little supercomputer said that was the most consequential matchup of the season in terms of like playoff implication, which I think is fair because there will be teams who get into the playoff with 2 losses this year. This expanded playoff for sure. That'll happen, but not in the SEC. Not when, look, whoever lost that game, they each already had 1 loss to an SEC team, Tennessee to Arkansas, Alabama to Vanderbilt. But 2 of them? You have 2 conference losses? Chances probably not so great. Jalen Milroe just like sucked a little bit. He's kind of like sucked. Like wasn't good. He like was bad is what I'm trying to say. He sucked and he was bad and he wasn't good. All 3. It happened at the exact same time in that game. It was like a perfect storm for Tennessee. Yeah, it was cool. The real, the main course of the night. Texas and Georgia. What a matchup. What a matchup. I went into that game. I'm not going to lie to you. I will say this knowing what ended up happening. I thought Texas was going to win by 100 points because they've looked like a well-oiled machine this year. Now, Oklahoma is very slowly starting to kind of fade into dust and like so they just stink? They're just not good. So that win it's cool because it's like a rivalry game. And that is one of those rivalry games where records have nothing to do with anything, but they still like murdered them. Sure, like Michigan is not good at all. Texas absolutely embarrassed them. Still a hostile environment. to go on the road and win that game wasn't nothing. I just thought it was going to be wraps. Like, I thought it was going to get ugly early. It did. That did happen. It did get really ugly early. Quinn Ewers, I thought, was murdered. I thought he was killed. I thought he was going to be like in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. It was late in the first, early in the second. Quinn Ewers takes a blindside hit, fumbles the ball. Georgia recovers. And I'm thinking about, funniest shit in the world. Quinn Ewers gets killed on national television, and they go to commercial because there's a turnover. And they show the Dr. Pepper commercial where Quinn Ewers is like, I don't need backup. Like, I went to the playoff without backup. And I was like, holy shit, that's going to be really funny when we find out when we get back from commercial and Quinn Ewers is dead and Arch Manning has to come into the game. That didn't happen immediately. Turns out Quinn Ewers was actually healthy. He just got murdered. And then Texas was getting killed so bad that Sark actually put Arch Manning in this game just to like see if it would jumpstart the offense in any way. And like it kind of did. Like it was close. It like almost kind of worked and it was kind of fun. Like he had one run that went for like 20 some odd yards and that was cool. But no is where it ended up going. Which sucked. I mean, Texas, I turned it off at halftime. Texas ended up sneaky kind of coming back, but like, nope, it was not ever going to happen. It was never going to happen. Michigan State played like maybe the most complete game that they've had all season. I had it like half on. I was like half paying attention to it because I had Georgia up on the main screen, and then we had Michigan State on Peacock over on the laptop, and I'm like the SpongeBob meme. I got like both eyes on it. You know what I mean? They like kind of ruled. Jonathan Kim is 100% going to get, he's going to get drafted. He's going to be an NFL kicker. My hottest take about Michigan State football this year, Nick Marsh could, if he was eligible to go into the draft this year, I think he'd be a 4th round pick. Like he's that good already. He's that good. And it's crazy how good he is. It was, I think the reason it felt so nice as a win wasn't just because we won the game after losing 3 straight and just getting the shit beat out of us for 2 of those. You lose to Boston College. It was an annoying loss, but like whatever. Ohio State, yup, like, The Oregon game, like, yup, But it felt like they actually used the bye week, and they actually improved, and they actually, like, worked on shit that they didn't think that they were very good at, namely, like, Aiden Childs' decision-making. He did end up throwing 1 pick, I'm pretty sure, but for the most part, like, wasn't stupid with the ball. Nate Carter was, like, actually running pretty hard. It was a fun game. It's nice to get back on track. We play Michigan this weekend. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about that on Friday. Kind of a beefy email here from Ethan. Ethan, welcome to the show. Subject line, copinghoursubs@gmail.com. Spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. This one's broken up into like 3 parts. I'm going to tackle all of them at the same time. Well, like, I'll break the email. You know what I mean. Ethan, welcome to the show. Subject line, crazy college football weekend / depression and how it relates to creativity. Hey, Nick, my name's Ethan. First, I want to get the niceties off. I am reading this for a reason. I think he asks an interesting question, and he frames it in a way that I've never really thought of before. So usually I skip this, but it's part of the context. First, I want to get the niceties off. As I'm sure you've heard before, your show has given me something entertaining and engaging for me to listen to during my work week. I really appreciate how you incorporate your audience. Even though I've never emailed in before, I still have felt resignation and related to other listeners emailing into the show. The kind of community you have harbored is quite interesting, and I think not seen in a lot of communities revolving such ideas for shows. But again, thank you, and please keep it up. I know you do the show for yourself and your son for the future. But does it also mean a lot to people outside of that? Oh, I'm sorry, but it does also mean a lot to people outside of that, and I'm curious how that impacts you. This is going to sound dumb. You guys tell me all the time that you care about the show a lot and that, it means a lot. But I clock that. It registers in my brain. But for some reason, like asking me what that means to me, I'd never really considered that before. Yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot. You guys don't have to listen to this. Was emailing with one of you the other day, and I was like, yeah, man, I don't care if like I do an hour full of topics that nobody cares about, because like I care about it, and it's an hour of me verbally journaling, and that, you know what I mean, and so the fact that anything that I say like resonates with people, it means a lot to me. I think like 5 years ago it would have meant a lot to me in like more of an ego way, like yeah, obviously, like, you're fucking interested in what I'm saying. I'm saying it in a really interesting way, and I'm being very convincing about the points and arguments that I'm making. Now, I don't really, that's not my focus at all. I just am like, the way you feel resonation with things that, people send in. And yeah, it's just kind of the life journey part of it that I was like hearing from people that are like, wow, I like related to this thing a lot, where, something that I said in passing that I didn't think was going to be very relatable at all. Or just, I didn't really think of something as maybe a struggle that somebody else would have. And, just kind of that you talk about the community and how similar all of our experiences are, while also the flip side of it being how different some of them are, and how much I can learn from the people who email and comment on the show. And yeah, I think in a lot of ways, that's why I'm very weird about the merch stuff. I was really weird about, which there's an update on that. Use the timestamps to your advantage. We will get to that at the end of the show. Like the same guy I was talking about where I was emailing him, which, by the way, I emailed back a lot of you guys this weekend. So if you sent in an email, check your inbox. If I knew I wasn't going to have a chance to read it on the show, I just emailed you back. So be on the lookout for that. He was like, yeah, I get why you're so weird about letting us help you out monetarily. Yeah, because this isn't like a show. You know what I mean? Like, it is, but it's not like that kind of show. Like, this is literally just me hanging out. I've harped on this for too long. Anyways, back to the email. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. Texas lost. Not sure if you could tell by my email address, but I'm an Aggie. As such, seeing both Alabama and Texas lose today felt like winning the lottery. It was an amazing day, capped out by me talking shit to one of my best friends about how Alabama lost and Texas A&M is number 1 in the SEC. God damn it, it feels good. And for just a brief moment... Oh, I'm sorry. It feels good, even for just a brief moment. I haven't seen our teams this good since Johnny Manziel, and even if our wins have come ugly, a win is a win. That's right, brother. Yes, it is. Especially in the SEC. Hell yes, brother. While I don't want to get my hopes up, I'm also hoping you could touch on some of these teams currently right now outside of the playoff and their chances to get in. In addition, I wanted to touch... Okay, so let's break this part, and then we'll get to this. Let's break the email there. I hate to say this. I fucking hate to say this. Saturdays are tough days for me to really lock in and watch a bunch of football. Sundays are the day that everybody's home, Maddie's home, we all just get to hang out and watch football. Saturdays, I'm by myself for most of the day, which means like football will be on passively in the background. But the truth is, guys, I just haven't been able to lock into college this year as much as I would have in years past, especially because like Michigan State's not good, so there doesn't really feel like there's that much for me to root for. But I know the Lions are good, so we always go out of our way to make time for the NFL. What I like about college football this season, we mentioned this a couple episodes ago, the 12-team playoff simply could not have come at a better time. Coming into this weekend, there were 30 teams at least that had a legitimate shot at making the playoff. That creates for some incredible late season games, and the product is something that I don't know if I think maybe it would be disingenuous for me to say that college football hasn't had a product this good maybe ever. It's just the lens that you look at it through and the way that it's being packaged right now, right? Where we've had really incredible seasons, but not all of the games had as much consequence as they have this season and as they will moving forward with this expanded playoff, because now there are 8 additional teams that are fighting for a seat at the table. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to win your conference. You don't have to. You still have to be pretty damn good, but you don't have to win your conference. So if you're like a Texas A&M fan, like Alabama, they're like we talked about, are they out of it? They're probably out of it, right? That's really, really exciting. Unfortunately, that is all that I have to say about it, though, is I think that, because I'm just excited that they made the jump from 4 to 12. I think all of us thought they were going to go to 8, maybe they go to 10, but no, they just said, fuck it, let's just go to 12. Where you may start to get a little bit weird is if one day they try to rival March Madness and they do like a winter adjacent thing, and then you just have these kids getting murdered. They're playing, 20-game seasons, and we expand to like 30 teams, like something like that. I don't think that's ever going to be necessary. But 12 teams right now seems like it's perfect, and I'm so excited to see how it's going to play out. Also, really crossing my fingers that Army and Navy remain undefeated, because that would be the best Army-Navy game of all time. Shout out to who was the kid? Keenan Reynolds? Was that his name? The quarterback from Navy. like 10 years ago at this point. Keenan Reynolds sounds right. And then Trent Steelman was the Army quarterback. Both of them were absolute dogs. Let's get back to the email. This is the third and final part of your email here, Ethan. In addition, I wanted to touch on depression and how it can take away from an individual's creativity. I have found in my personal life that I feel almost robbed by this feeling that nothing I do will matter, so why should I try? I find this feeling to be the demise of many projects and dreams outside of just myself and expanding to just about everyone I know. How do you as a content creator get past these episodes that come up often and continue to create and innovate? I'm especially interested in your relationship with the Shoot Around podcast and how you think it impacts the content on your... And how it impacts the content on your channel, and if you somewhat feel like you are forced to generate it in a certain way on that show versus your own. I'm very interested in this medium, but I've always been too afraid to fail to try. However you choose to answer, thank you, and I will thank you very much for this, Ethan. Thank you very much. So the Shoot Around, Rudy drives the ship, so whatever he shows up with is like what we're doing. And there are plenty of episodes where I haven't said that much because the way I phrased it to them a couple of weeks ago when we talked about it. Because people would leave comments and they're like, Nick doesn't talk anymore. Like, why isn't Nick talking? Nick needs to talk more. And it's like, dog, I'm low volume, high efficiency. If I don't have something to say, I'm not just going to say it because it's going to be clear that I don't know what I'm talking about and that I'm just talking to fill the space. But anything that we talk about on there, like a lot of the jokes I would make on this show, I don't make on that one because it's it's not buttoned up, but it's just not that kind of show over there. And it's not the same audience and it's just a little bit different. So I'm a little bit more dialed back. And it doesn't, I repeat shit all the time because I know that not everybody that listens to the Shoot Around listens to this show and vice versa. So I don't have a problem if the take is good or if the joke is funny, I'll just double up. I'll double dip. I'll say it on a Monday episode here, and then I'll say it again on Wednesday, or I'll say it on Wednesday on the Shoot Around, and I'll say it again on Friday. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with that. It honestly doesn't interfere that much. But you asked, as a content creator, how do I get past those depressive episodes and continue to create and innovate? Well, I am fortunate enough that in my very specific circumstance, that in a lot of ways can make the show better. Because if I have those vulnerable and raw moments, then it resonates with the audience in such a way that it you know what I mean? And so I just kind of let it ride. And I'm a very emotive person, and I don't really shy from that. It's pretty. If you've listened to the show for more than 5 episodes, you're like, wow, this guy has a lot of feelings, for better or for worse. There's a lot going on with that guy. In terms of letting it derail your motivation for content, yeah, for sure. Because this, for me, is an obligation. But because I know that I need it from a therapeutic standpoint twice a week. I need to sit down for 2 hours every single week and get 60 minutes in the can, whatever I'm thinking. Dog, sometimes it's going to be about sports. A lot of the time it's going to be about sports. But sometimes it's not really, because it's whatever I'm feeling on that exact day or in the days leading up to it or whatever. But I say that just to say there are plenty of projects where if I didn't want to jump off of a building every other day, I would have a lot of content under my belt. That's why I don't even really refer to myself as a content creator because I don't make stuff. I really don't. I edit videos for Jacob, aka Rusty Buckets. I do a shitty job doing that, even when I think I try really hard. There are some videos where I think I did a good job, and then I'll watch it back and I'll be like, this sucks, but I literally have to upload it because I'm always on such a time crunch. When watching my kid, it's I'm editing when he's napping, or he'll be awake and I'm between 5-minute chunks. I have to just play with him, and sometimes it's just such a fucking thing. And I just got to get the video out. That's all that it is. But as far as individual creation, the term content creator is used so liberally in 2024. And the people that motherfuckers who do react content are not content creators. That's not, you know what I mean? Shit like that. When I say it's used liberally, that's what I mean. And people use it as this catch-all umbrella thing. I don't make stuff. I really don't anymore. Because, to your point, I get in my head about it. Because I need validation to such a degree that if I don't have the right person telling me this is the right thing to do, or hey, maybe do this thing instead, I'll scrap it. It's the reason why Data Leak has taken so long for me to make. The songs are done. They're done. They've been done. It's the visuals that I cannot get myself to do them. Because in the hour and a half of free time that I might have every single day, I would either rather be doing something else where I'm just like really chilling out and like decompressing from the day, or I'm like having a bad day and I'm feeling miserable and I'm just like, I don't want to do stuff. Like, I don't want to do stuff. So this is a really shitty way of telling you, like, I don't know. Just that I struggle with the same thing, and I'm very much there with you. And it is hard when you know like what the vision is, but the execution is really hard to achieve because you just don't believe in yourself, or you don't believe in the idea, or you're like, well, this is too high of a, like if you're someone who's like, I want to start a podcast, but you're like, but the landscape is so vast. Like, where do I even start with that? Or my dream, you want to know a dream, and this is not going to happen. With all due respect, do not start sending me emails about this, but an idea conceptually that I've always wanted to do is like a podcast host reality show where like for real, X amount of people are like, oh, I want to do a show, or like this show is in its infancy that I just started. And I just like listen to them, and I don't want to like coach people up. See, this is where I kind of like, so like, what is the genesis of the show? Like, what is it? Like, how do you pick a winner? It would literally just be like whoever I like the most and whose show I fuck with the most. And then I just like promote that. But it's like, I can't even promote it because like I don't have like you know what I mean? Like the subscriber count isn't really reflective. And so like, what is the platform really? I don't know. There's definitely an idea in there somewhere. Like somebody who I identify as like this guy can talk into a microphone. This person, this guy, this girl, this gay, this non-gender conforming individual can throw motherfucking fastballs into a microphone, and like, let's put them on a pedestal. But it's an like, again, conceptually, I think that's a really fun idea. But from an execution standpoint, I am not disciplined enough to pull something like that off. So Ethan, again, not very much advice there, more just empathy. And like, I really do hear you. Hey folks, copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. NBA season is upon us. This one comes into us from Brendan. Subject line, hear me out, players. Hear me out in quotes. Hey Nick, long time, first time, you know the deal. Thank you for making the only basketball podcast that my girlfriend will let me play in the car on road trips. Brother, this is a good email otherwise, which is why I'm reading it. But that was the one that drew me in. That line right there is what I was like, cha-ching. Nice. Thank you. Thank you to Ms. Brendan. Where are you guys going? I'm talking to you guys in the car right now. Hey, where are you guys going? Oh, if you look out on your right, you'll see that exit. Oh, yeah, that McDonald's off that exit is great. Their fries are always real. I'm kind of losing myself here. Let's get back to the email. The aforementioned girlfriend has recently been asking me to do this TikTok trend, this TikTok, quote, hear me out, unquote, trend with her, where you tell each other the names of people, real or fictional, who you find attractive, but in like a guilty pleasure sort of way. Like Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. I was wondering, who are your hear me out players? Like a player who doesn't play a winning brand of basketball, or maybe doesn't have the best PR, but you could sneaky root for them, or you want to root for them. Could even just be a player who you like but don't want to say it. I think mine would be Grayson Allen or like Trae Young. Come to think of it, I think I lost the plot of why Trae Young is so hated. Was it because he's balding? Or people saying that he's the next Steph before the draft? I guess the flopping became a little bit too much, but I would be doing the same thing if I was barely 6 foot and 160 pounds. Sorry for rambling. Really looking forward to what you have to say. Okay, so two things here. One, I was kind of bummed because I thought we were just going to like go down and you wanted me to like tell you which NBA players were like sneaky hot, but like if you say it to the masses, and then you just completely flipped it on its head. And so I think I'm just going to change the criteria here, and I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to call an audible. Yeah, I'm going to call an audible, and I'm going to do that instead, like with the fictional characters, and just be like, what NBA players are hot unconventionally instead of doing your thing. But the second thing I wanted to say, you nailed this. Like, all that Trae Young shit, I think is like, yeah, I think that's why. I remember pre-draft when he was at Oklahoma, I was rubbed the wrong way by the Steph stuff. I was like, chill with that. Even like if in some sense, yeah, I get it. Especially, now, how long has he been in the league? Like 6, 7 years? 7 years? Has to be longer than that. Somewhere around there, right? Like, you get it. It's not like it was that crazy to say it. Nobody's saying he's Steph Curry, but like, you know what I mean? The balding thing. Yeah, if that picture of the sucker on the ground with like the dog hair on it and like the fucking band, if that picture didn't exist, man, that just did so much damage to his image. Because it's funny. I don't think it's as funny anymore because it's just so overused. But like, if I'm being objective and like taking the overused piece out of it, like, yes, it is still very, very funny. Flopping stuff. Again, you nailed all of this. And the Grayson Allen thing, dog, we were just talking about this on the shoot around. I just don't hate him anymore. Because I believe very firmly that as long as he's on your team and he's doing all of that horse shittery for your team, you're going to love it. Same thing with Draymond, by the way. Warriors fans may push back on that now in 2024. They're like, oh, no, we're actually sick of him. I would get that. But at the peak of Draymond's powers, if he was on your team, you would have died for that man because he would have died for your team. Those agitators are the ones that you want. And when Grayson Allen got to the league and, like, first of all, became like a bucket, like a big-time bucket, the way that he was for Phoenix last year. Like, he's hit some big shots in his career. Sneaky kind of a journeyman, like a little bit. Still kind of trips people. Is still like an asshole on the court, but like, again, like, who cares? Hottest NBA players. That's a great question. It's an awesome question. Well, conventionally, the pinnacle of it would be Giannis. Like, that's just a good-looking guy. It's a really, really good-looking guy. My hardest zag as to who I don't think is that good-looking. People are going to... You plug your ears for this, folks. I don't get it with Shea. I just don't get it. Like, fit God, for sure. On-court accessories, for sure. Love it. But, like, is he a good-looking dude? I guess. I'm already losing myself in this segment. Probably should have thought about this one a little bit more. Ooh, Dame, too. Can I just take the Milwaukee Bucks? I'll just take the Bucks. Except, with all due respect, some of you are going to be like, ooh, respect Chris Middleton. Yeah, I do, but you know what I mean? Like, you know what it is. Oh, here's one. Reverse good looking, reverse cute, hashtag reverse cute, Kelly Oubre. I'm over it. Because you know that guy, the guy who looks like that, and he knows, you know what I mean? We're watching Love is Blind right now, the new season of Love is Blind, and there's a motherfucker on that show who I'm like, you guys are giving like the same energy. And like, I'm like, this guy is literally Kelly Oubre. They don't really look alike, but it's just the sense that like how in tune you are with your reverse masculinity, which isn't a problem. Like, girl, I'm the same way. It's cool. But like when you know that you're kind of cute and like that, and like you're a little dreamy a little bit, the way that Kelly Oubre, like, man, fuck you. So goddamn funny that the guy gets hit by a car, which is like a pretty innocent thing to have happen. Just gets hit by a car. Like, we've all been there, and we're so distrustful of our news that we receive that people were like, he's lying. He faked it. Show me the video. Send the video. Hell no, can't do this. When TMZ released fucking ring camera footage of Kelly Oubre walking into his apartment after he got hit by a car, and you've watched the video, you're like, oh yeah, that guy definitely got hit by a car. You turn on the audio, and his partner, whoever it was that was in the room, it's like, what the fuck happened? He's like, dog, I just got hit by a car. That's so goddamn funny. Because he's fine, obviously, right? Because he's fine. I don't know. I'm really, really, really losing myself with this one. So let's move on. Maybe we'll revisit this one. Hey, since the NBA season is coming back, I haven't really done this at all because it's just not really what I do. Can I plant my flag in some awards really quick? Let's do some Coping Hour NBA season award. This is a very wordy segment. Predictions for the 2024-2025 season. Who do I think is going to win Coach of the year. I don't care about Coach of the year. It's also like just like Chris Finch. Let's say Chris Finch. I like that one. I don't know. JB wins 41 games and we have to talk about it. But I'm just going to say Chris Finch because I think it's more like, no, it'll be Dagnall. Whoever is first in the West. There. That's what I'll say. That's like not very flag planty, but I think that's fair. So it'll be him. No, it can't be Jason Kidd. I'm not letting that happen. Not on my watch. Jason Kidd is not winning a Coach of the Year. Hell no. Can't do this. Sixth man of the year. That one's impossible to predict too now that there's no like Eric Gordon and Lou Williams and like, I don't know, Malik Monk again. Not again. No, he didn't do it. No, because he got hurt. Who the fuck won 6 minutes? I don't even care. Off to a hot start with this segment, impromptu segment. I do think the defensive player of the year thing will be Wembanyama. I believe with the mass. I believe the masses on that one. I agree. MVP. Isn't it a little weird? I don't know how we're going to look back on this one 15 years from now when Luka's done. That it took, like, he still doesn't have one? Isn't that kind of weird to anybody? It's got to happen this year, right? But just to be consistent, didn't I say like 2 weeks ago, I was like, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will win MVP as long as the Thunder win 60 games. Like, it's just going to be him. He's the ringleader. This team, damn near, 2 years ago, won 40 games. 3 years ago, won like fucking 20. And now, staring down the barrel of the most stacked the West has maybe ever been, at the risk of sounding hyperbolic, that guy goes and wins 60 games. I think the over-under is like 57 or something, but that's just because it's a bloodbath out there, right? That guy's going to win MVP. Again, there's a case that he should have won. I think this is what I said a couple days ago. There's a case that he should have won it this last year. Okay, what if the Mavs win 57? Luka plays 70 games. And he has like Luka numbers. We're not giving it to him? Oh, okay. What about Giannis? What about Nick? What about Jokic or Embiid? Well, I was going to say no, the Jokic thing I think isn't going to happen. Well, no. Well, because people are kind of writing the Nuggets off and they're kind of like, yeah, it's over. Like, it's whatever they had going on, it's not happening anymore. So if the Nuggets win 54 games, are we talking? And Jokic has Jokic numbers. We'll talk about it. For sure. The Embiid thing, his MVP case is, if he just, the way that he started last season, what was it, like the first 2 months of the season, where it was like, holy shit, he might be the unanimous MVP. This isn't even going to be close. He was killing everybody, just like sheer force of will. Force of will? I don't know if that's how you say it. And then he gets hurt, and then he had the quote the other day, and I hope I'm not getting ball sack sports. I think this was a real quote. Where he was like, yeah, I'll probably never play another back-to-back for the rest of my life. Is that like ticket tampering? Can you say that, Joel Embiid? Can you say that? I'm not sure. So who did I say is going to win MVP? I made the case for like 6 people. I'm going to say Luka. It's just weird that it hasn't happened yet. So it has to at some point. You know what I mean? Most improved. Hasn't been that much home cooking here. I know I said the JB Bickerstaff thing, but I actually mean Jaden Ivey. I actually mean that sounds kind of right. Hey, can we get, let me ask your guys' opinion on something, because I want to know if I'm dumb here. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. Subject line, ethical scalping. Comes into us from Alex. Alex, welcome to the show. Hi, Nick. Long-time listener, second-time emailer. I think that first one was a dud, so that's on me. I'm a Wizards season ticket holder. Nothing special, just one seat in the 400s, but it's right below the press box, so you can actually see the whole court. And it's the nice side. I'm sorry, it's the side performers / the camera faces, so it looks pretty nice. Now, I have to move out of state for work, like multiple time zones away from DC. I already paid for my seat, so I have 40 tickets to offload. The Wizards are playing a home game in Mexico City. Wish we got a ticket for that. Oh, yeah, that would have been cool. It's such bullshit when that's a home, when that you get stuck with the home game. Like when the Eagles and the Packers were playing in Brazil. That was the quote-unquote Eagles home game, right? That's such horse shit. But like, I get it. That has to be somebody, right? Back to the email. I should say that I really like being a season ticket holder, and I really like the Wizards. I get League Pass for free. I get to attend a Meet the Team event a couple of weeks ago, which was awesome. That's cool. And last year they gave me an $85 quarter zip as a gift. I will be watching every game this season, but obviously I can't attend anything unless I fly in. My question for you, is it possible to be an ethical scalper? I currently have about half the tickets listed so that they are the cheapest or close to it in the entire arena, much less my section. Is that the right way to go about it? Is there a right way to go about it? Am I even a scalper if my end goal isn't really profit, even if I'll probably turn a small profit by the time that all of the tickets sell? Follow on Wizards take. We will not be in contention for Cooper Flag. We'll be lottery, but like less than 5% chance at the number one pick. Our coach won't impact winning, but after last season, I truly believe no one on a team has a toxic ego besides maybe Kuzma. Besides Kuzma? What about the fucking... I don't need to do this again. Thanks, Nick. Let me know if you or someone else wants a Wizards ticket. I don't know how I would get them in contact with you because I don't want to give people your email because that seems not cool. But I'll get you in contact with Tom. Bathroom Tom. Guy could use a win right now. You're not a scalper at all, right? I'm not crazy. Because like you said, it's not profit. Like if you were scalping, you would be... And first, I don't need to say this, but I do need to say this. It's the Wizards. I would say the same thing if you were doing this for the Hornets or the Bulls or the Pistons. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? Like, we know what it is. And so, yeah, man, like your goal isn't to try to juice these prices. You're just trying to make sure that somebody is utilizing the ticket that you already paid for, right? That's all that it is. This isn't even scalping. This is just like, it's circumstantial ticket selling. And like whatever the face value of the ticket is. Did you include that information here? As I'm saying that sounds kind of right. Yeah, man, you're good, right? I wanted to get everybody a chance to give a ruling on that. I feel like I'm maybe fumbling the communication here a little bit. I don't think you have anything to be worried about here at all. Hey, do you guys want to, can we do another ruling? Can we do another ruling here? We got an anonymous tip in the Coping Hour inbox the other day. copingoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. We may have to amend the bingo sheet, the 2024 Motown Noah bingo sheet. And I need a ruling if we're allowed to actually put it on the board. And what I'm talking about is the Clippers blowing it up. That being on the Motown Noah 2024 bingo sheet. I have a clip that I'm going to play, and I will let you decide. Let's roll the tape. Second, let's go to the NBA. The Clippers blow it up. Are the Clippers at some point going to be like, yeah, maybe Paul George to Indiana is actually, maybe that's a fun reunion for him. Maybe they can give us a bunch of cool shit. I don't know. Kind of jumpstart this thing, or like not really blow it up, because with the new arena coming in, I guess they're probably not going to want to really blow it up. But in terms of doing something with Paul George, Kawhi, probably not. I don't know. In some form, the Clippers doing something weird is bound to happen. See, so it's a big conflict of what I wrote down versus what I said. Because I was like, well, the Clippers are going to do something weird. Something weird is going to happen with Paul George. I was like, even if it's not blowing it up, right? Like, so does it count, or do we need to just stick to what I wrote down, which is that they will blow it up, which didn't happen? Now, the reason that I'm bringing this up is because if we do that, if we say that gets to go on the board, then that top row is looking pretty juicy. Someone famous died. The Clippers would have blown it up / done something weird, which we did not write down, but is what I said. Bryan Cranston hasn't had another moment yet, but people did learn why we gave so much away in the Luke Kennard trade. And Aaron Rodgers will be having a documentary coming out this December chronicling his rehabilitation from the torn Achilles. So literally all we would need to have happen between now and December 31st, we got about 2 months and change for this to happen, is Bryan Cranston having another moment. Whatever that means and however that looks, we will know it when we see it. The Dodgers are about to be in the World Series. Knock on wood, it looks like, right? Bryan Cranston, big Dodgers fan. If Bryan Cranston throws out a first pitch at a World Series game, I'm telling you right motherfucking now, that counts. All right? And if we give this card the Clippers thing, that's a bingo. Okay? So think about this. I will Whatever the consensus is, I will poll in my head. I'll look at emails, comments, everything, and I will take a tally up until Friday, the next episode. And if you guys give it to me, it's on the board. If you don't, okay, we'll wait for something more conclusive to happen, more concrete to happen, right? Now, while we're already talking about this, I just said that it sounds like while we're taping this, actually, the Dodgers are playing. Let's get a live score update of the Dodgers in, game... What are they playing? Whoa, what is going on? What's going on? Dodgers up 6-3, bottom of the fourth. Okay, so if this score holds, the Dodgers are going to be in the World Series. Now, on this bingo sheet, we have the Dodgers don't win a World Series, which would mean that the Yankees won a World Series because they are officially in. And right next to that, we have Shohei does something that no one has done since 1922, which is still in play here. By the way, because we're tracking 450 total bases in a single season, the postseason does count. The last person to do it was, what is his name? Rogers Hornsby? The year before that, it was, I think, Babe Ruth. 450 total bases has not been achieved since 1922. Coming into tonight, before the Dodgers played this game against the Mets that they're playing right now, Shohei is 20 total bases away. So if this series wants to go 7, that's fine with me. If they make it to the World Series and that wants to go 7-2 just to ensure that he gets those extra bases, we're looking at something here, okay? So that's that. Give me a ruling on that. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. I said earlier that there was going to be an update on merch. Yeah, there kind of is. Friday's show got released, and Maddie went to go to work on Friday morning, and she leaves, and she texts me like 10 minutes later. She's like, I'm Ubering to work, period. And I was like, why? And she sends me 3 pictures. Motherfuckers broke into our car, and they tried to wire it, and they yada, yada, yada. And luckily, they're stupid as fuck and couldn't do it. But that rendered our car completely useless. This is the 3rd time in the last year and a half that this has happened because we drive a Kia. And if you know anything about stealing cars, that's the easiest car in the fucking world right now to steal. It's like any Kia. Now, I will not be the harbinger of this information to explain why it's so easy, but I did just put it on some of your radars. Stop stealing people's fucking Kias. But they tried to do that. All 3 times they were unsuccessful. People, I guess, are just dumb and don't actually know how to do it. They just see a TikTok and they're like, okay. And it's like, you know what these motherfuckers are using these cars for. They're going to steal it and then they're going to do something illegal, like fucking kill someone, and then they're going to ditch the car somewhere and yada, yada, yada. Okay, but it didn't work. But they tore apart the steering column completely. They absolutely decimated the interior of the car. It's completely undrivable. Now, luckily, we do have insurance and it's going to cover some of it. And we're looking to get a rental and blah, 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 blah. Outside of the, just the invasiveness of that and how bad it's fucks with you to have that happen. Again, this is the 3rd time that this has happened. It's not like we can just afford to get a new car. Looking at trading something in with Carvana, it's a whole thing that's not worth explaining, but it sucks. Especially because our son in a week and a half has 2 major doctor appointments. And if we don't have the car back, which again, it sounds like we're getting a rental. So okay, but at the time that this happened, we did not know this. And we're one of those doctor appointments is a motherfucking heart echo, son. And for him to, you know what I mean? And it just sucks, man. You're empathetic to some crime, some of it, stealing. I don't have a problem with stealing. We all steal. It's fine, right? Because it's a means thing. Oh, you must really need that. Or you just were I love to steal and I want to steal right now. All right, well, it's probably from a major corporation anyways. And that just doesn't matter. It's not a real crime. It is, but it's who cares, right? But I'm just not empathetic to, shock a hot take here. I'm just not empathetic to motherfuckers who want to jack the car. And my biggest fear is that one day I'll walk down there and see somebody in real time trying to steal our car. Somebody will die. Either it's me or them. Somebody will die. Because I'm already really, really short-tempered. And I'm, already always kind of, the fucker to, do something just so I can, see if I could actually... Not like that. I don't mean, if I could actually just... Well, I kind of mean it. But I just mean, I don't know. I walk in town. And I'm like, I wonder what would happen if somebody tried to fuck with me right now. Like, they would be like, give me the reason. Well, if they're breaking into the car, like the wired, autocomplete, Reddit, undercover, it's actually me, but you're actually like, I already know what my moves are going to be. I already know the one-liner I'm going to deliver, like, for real, right? Please don't steal our fucking car, because we have a fucking son. Like, we want to put a note on the car that says, like, please stop trying to steal our fucking car. We have a newborn. Stop doing this. This sucks to do. And then the other piece of it that sucks is, Nick, haven't you mentioned before that you guys have, like, a secure parking lot? Yeah, I thought we did too. So what the fuck are we paying this HOA for if X amount of it is going to surveillance systems and as it's billed, 24/7 security? So where were they during this? That's an awesome question. We're still trying to figure that out. The fuck? It's like, oh, did you guys get security cam footage? So what if we did? Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Because the first 2 times that this happened, we did file police reports because we're like, that's the right thing to do. It's like the responsible thing to do. Both times, CPD is like, they just shrug their shoulders like, damn, that fucking sucks. But, yep, we're going to go. Because, like, they have bigger fish to fry. Motherfuckers are getting killed. Like, actual crimes are happening. They don't give a shit about you getting your car broken into. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to catch that person. They're not going to find that person. Which, like, I get. But also, like, so what do you guys do then? What do you do? Because you're not, like, a preventative force. This presence is not, like, a preventative measure. I'm saying the same goddamn thing to the security right now. You know? So, like, you guys are all really nice guys. But, like, what the fuck? You know, how did this happen? Maddie talked to one of the security guards, and they're like, oh, yeah, like, we have somebody watching the cameras all the time. Do you? He's like, yeah, we usually catch this shit, like, before it happens. Do you? And did you? No, you didn't. So where does the merch play into this? This puts us in a bad spot in more ways than one. And I was thinking thecopinghour.com is where you can buy your Coping Hour merch. The link to that will also always be available in the description. And I'm starting to think I'm going to cycle out some of the underperforming items in the shop and maybe create some new elevated, updated merchandise options. Trying to just figure out like what isms or like what options, like what would be funny, what like designs can I do that would be funny, stuff like that. So it may be like a little bit, maybe like I'm hoping by Friday, but like, you know, I don't know. So just keep an eye out for that. That it's really hard for me to, you know, put that out there and just say that, but I'm just like, it just completely fucks us. And thank God for insurance, right? Like it's not nearly as bad as it could be, but also like trying to figure out like, how are we supposed to like buy a new car and like trade this in? It's like we have to fix the car in order to trade it in, but it's like, because if we don't, then our insurance is just going to keep going up because insurance companies are already like, we don't really want to cover Kias because they just keep getting fucking stolen, you know, which is true. It's true. It's not that hard to do it. Again, I'm not the harbinger of this information, but it is. There are many people, many such cases that are saying that it is actually... Folks, if you're listening to this on Spotify, be sure to rate 5 stars. If you are watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.